My fiancée used me to get famous, then dumped me for a rich guy, but she did not get the happy ending she wanted. Now she is sad. I am 28 years old, and Tiffany, who is 25, were together for almost 4 years. We were very different from each other. She liked wild things and would say, "Let's drive to Vegas now," or "We should quit our jobs and travel through Europe." But I worked hard as a civil engineer for 50 to 60 hours each week to build a good future for us. That's how we were. She brought fun, and I brought steadiness. For some time, it was good. She would tell me she liked that I was reliable and that she felt safe with me. She called me her rock and other nice things. For the first 2 years we were together, things were very good and balanced. She would make me try new things, take surprise weekend trips, and go to concerts of bands I did not know. I would make sure we were safe, had a plan, and could get home if there was trouble. We were good for each other. After a year and a half, we started living together. We got a nice apartment in the city. It was not fancy, but it had a small balcony where we would drink coffee on weekends and talk about our future, kids, a house outside the city, and all our dreams. I began saving money to buy a ring. After 3 years, I asked her to marry me, and we set the wedding date for the next year. We had lots of time to plan the perfect wedding, right? But in the last few months before the wedding, things became strange. At that time, I did not want to admit it to myself. Now I can see exactly when things began to change. Tiffany started using Instagram a lot about 6 months before the wedding. I mean, really a lot. All of a sudden, our usual weekend plans were not pretty enough for pictures. Every restaurant had to look good in photos. Everything we did had to look nice for her social media posts. It was not just normal social media use. She would spend hours fixing photos, looking up hashtags, and worrying about how many followers she had. At dinner, she would only talk about her becoming famous and how soon companies would pay her to post things. Also, she started arguing about money all the time. Not because we didn't have enough money, we were fine, but because she thought we should have more. She would show me pictures on Instagram of other couples who were on their 5th vacation of the year or who lived in big houses. "Why can't we have those things?" she would ask. "Look at Ashley and Brian. They just bought a house in the hills and they're going to Bali next month." I was the only one with a full-time job, while she worked part-time in marketing from 9 to 3, just 3 days a week, and said it was too tiring. I did not want to say anything about this because it seemed mean, but the money did not add up. "We'll get there someday," I would tell her. "I'm trying to get a promotion at work. We're saving money for a house, but it takes time to build something real." She would roll her eyes and say, "You're too careful. Don't you want to take a risk? Have some fun." The truth is, I thought I was taking risks. Promising to spend your life with someone is the biggest risk of all. Paying for the wedding place, spending thousands on the wedding, and combining our money seemed like very big steps to me. I still remember something she said 2 months before the wedding that she called a joke but did not sound like one. "You know what would be the perfect wedding gift? A Tesla car. We'll be a famous couple, right?" She laughed. I laughed too, but something felt wrong. Then there was the wedding gift list. I was shocked when I saw what she put on it. A $900 blender, $500 bed sheets, and a $1,200 coffee machine. When I nicely said maybe we should ask for less expensive things, she got angry and said we needed to start our marriage the right way and that these things were good for our future. Yes, because no marriage has ever failed because the sheets were not expensive enough, right? 1 month before the wedding, she started being strange with her phone. She would take calls in other rooms and text at weird times. When I asked about it, she would say it was about wedding surprises or problems with her bridesmaids. One night, about 3 weeks before the wedding, she came home late from what was supposed to be her last dress fitting. Her makeup looked different than usual, and she seemed very excited and full of energy. "How did the dress fitting go?" I asked. "Great, perfect," she said, not looking at my eyes. "I'm going to take a shower now." I found a receipt in her purse when I moved it from the couch. It was not from the dress shop, but from an expensive restaurant downtown that I had never heard of. The time on the receipt was right when she was supposed to be at her dress fitting. I should have talked to her about it right then, but what could I say? That I looked through her purse? That I did not trust her 3 weeks before our wedding? So I said nothing. I told myself it was just wedding nerves. Maybe it was a surprise for me. I did not know. The next day, I saw that she changed her Instagram picture to one that I did not take. It was a professional-looking photo where she was laughing and looking over her shoulder. When I asked about it, she just said, "Oh, Amber took it when we were shopping." Amber is her sister, who suddenly started giving me strange looks when we were in the same room. I noticed other things too. There were new clothes in her closet that I had never seen her wear. There was different perfume on her dresser. There were receipts for Uber rides to places she never told me she went. But every time I tried to talk about these strange things, she would say, "You are just worried about the wedding. Why are you watching what I do? Don't you trust me?" Looking back, she was trying to make me think I was wrong. There was one very strange moment about 10 days before the wedding. We were having dinner with both sets of parents to talk about the last wedding plans. My parents were paying for about 70% of the wedding, and her parents were paying for the rest. Her dad kept making strange comments about my job, my plans for the next 5 years, and my retirement savings. It was like he was checking if I was a good investment, not like he was welcoming me to the family. After dinner, on the drive home, Tiffany kept talking about how her friend's husband had given his wife a Range Rover car for their anniversary. "Isn't that romantic?" she said. "He knows how to treat her right." I held the steering wheel tighter. "I think love is more important than expensive gifts," I said. "It's about being there for each other in good times and bad times." She just looked out the window and said, "Yes, but a Range Rover car is nice too." I should have known then what kind of person she was, but love can make you foolish, I guess. Now let's skip to the wedding day. I woke up early feeling excited, even though things had been strange the last few months. This was the day our life together would start. All those other problems would go away after we were married. That's what I told myself. I texted her around 8 a.m. "Good morning, love. I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle." She did not answer. I thought she was busy with her hair and makeup. But an hour passed, then 2 hours. I called her, but it went straight to voicemail. I called again. Nothing. That's when I started to feel sick in my stomach. Something was wrong. I tried calling one of her bridesmaids. No answer either. That was strange. By 11 a.m., I was really worried. I called her mom, but it went to voicemail. I called her sister. No answer. It was like they had all disappeared. My best man, Jake, tried to calm me down. "Dude, weddings are crazy. They probably started late with hair and makeup. They are all busy and their phones are silent." But I could not stop feeling that something was wrong. I went to the wedding place early. The wedding was supposed to start at 2 p.m. I saw her parents there and they looked too calm. Too calm. I asked if they had seen Tiffany. Her mom gave me a fake smile and said, "Oh, she is just too stressed. You know how brides get." But she would not look at my eyes. Her dad barely looked at me. He just said something about her being nervous and walked away. Then I saw them whispering to each other and looking at their phones. Something was definitely happening. I heard her mom say, "She hasn't texted back yet. What if she..." before they saw me and stopped talking. I went outside and called her best friend. "Hey, have you heard from Tiffany? I can't reach her." She sounded strange. Not since last night. Have you talked to her parents?" The way she said it, I knew she knew something. My chest felt tight as I hung up and hurried to the bridal room. If she was anywhere, she would be there. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked louder. "Tiffany?" Still no answer. The door was locked. A worker nearby said no one had gone in or out of that room all morning. I stood there, hoping she would show up. She did not. I went back inside. The wedding planner was asking me about the schedule. The flower person wanted to know where to put the flowers. The photographers were there, but there was still no sign of my bride. By 1:30 p.m., guests were arriving. My whole family was there and looked worried. Tiffany's relatives were coming in and looking around with curious looks. At 1:45 p.m., my groomsmen were all dressed up. The bridesmaids were not there. At 1:50 p.m., I was standing near the front where the wedding would happen, and my heart was beating fast. The person who would marry us kept looking at me with pity. The musicians were playing soft music, but it sounded like noise to me. Then I started fighting with myself in my mind. What should I do? Should I go look for her? Should I delay the wedding? Should I pretend nothing is wrong and hope she comes in like this is some strange wedding joke? Part of me wanted to believe she was just nervous and would show up soon. But another part of me, the stronger part, Kept thinking about the strange looks, the late nights, and the times she would not talk. 5 minutes before the wedding was supposed to start, there was still no word from her. Jake was standing next to me, looking at his watch and looking more and more worried. I kept calling her, but she did not answer. Then my phone buzzed in my hand. It was Tiffany. Finally. My hands were shaking when I opened the message. I thought maybe she was running late or feeling nervous. The message said exactly, "I'm sorry, Mark. I tried, but I cannot marry you. You are too normal and boring for someone like me. I need more fun and excitement than you can give me. Also, I'm too young to live this kind of life. I hope you understand someday. Please do not hate me." I just kept looking at the screen and reading the message again and again. She broke up with me 5 minutes before we were supposed to get married, and she did it with a text message. Jake saw my face and came over. "Mark, are you okay? It's time to start." I just gave him my phone. His mouth dropped open. "No way." Something strange happened to me right then. It was like my mind changed. I felt hurt, a big, heavy hurt in my stomach, but on the outside, I became very calm. I found the man who would marry us, a nice older man who looked confused about the delay. "There's been a small change," I told him, and my voice was surprisingly steady. Then I walked out alone to the place where we were supposed to stand together. All the guests looked at me with confused faces. People started whispering. I took the microphone, took a deep breath, and just started talking.
"Welcome, everyone," I said. The room became very quiet. "Something has happened. About 5 minutes ago, I got a text message from Tiffany. I looked at all the faces in the room, my family, her family, our friends. Everyone was staring at me. It said, and I am quoting exactly, 'I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I need to live my life for myself. I hope you understand someday.' The sounds people made were so loud that you could have heard a pin drop. Someone on her side actually cried out. My mom looked like she was going to faint. Jake looked me right in the eyes and nodded. 'You should not hide this,' he whispered. He was right. I continued speaking with a calm voice. 'It looks like there will be no wedding today. Tiffany has made her choice.' I paused for a moment. 'However,' I said, speaking a little louder, 'everything is already paid for. The food is ready and the band is here. So tonight will not be a wedding party. It will be a celebration. A celebration of being honest, even when it hurts. A celebration of avoiding something bad. And a celebration of having friends and family who support us.' I raised my glass of water. I did not trust myself with anything stronger at that moment. 'So please, eat. Enjoy yourselves. Let's have a party anyway.' The next few hours were very strange. About 40% of the guests left, mostly Tiffany's family and friends. Her parents and sister Amber almost ran out the door, but the rest stayed. My dad gave me a hug that almost broke my ribs. 'It's her loss, son,' he said quietly. 'A big loss.' The party was strange at first. Nobody knew how to act. For the first 20 minutes, people just came up to me with sad looks, saying awkward things like they would at a funeral. 'I'm so sorry. That was a terrible thing to do. You're better off without her.' I just nodded, thanked them for coming, and tried to change the subject. 'Have you tried the small food? The cook said they are his best food.' But after a while, something changed. Jake and my friends from college gathered around me like my own cheerleaders, joking, teasing, and making me feel their energy. One of them shouted, 'Well, we're all dressed up. We might as well party like she lost the better man.' And that broke the tension completely. Someone changed the music. The band understood what was happening. Before I knew it, people were dancing, drinks were being served, the small food was disappearing, and the room did not feel like a funeral anymore. My cousin Nicole tapped her glass and stood up to say, 'To Mark, who showed us all what real class looks like in a terrible situation.' It became a strange but helpful party that celebrated that I was better off without her. My Aunt Patricia, who had been through a bad divorce herself, came up to me when there was a quiet moment. 'You know,' she said, 'I spent years trying to make a relationship work with someone who would never appreciate me. You avoided all that pain in just one day. It hurts a lot now, but believe me, you will look back and see this was a gift.' Meanwhile, I was still thinking about the more than $60,000 that was wasted. The place, the food for 150 people, the flowers, the suits, the honeymoon trip to the Maldives that could not be refunded. All gone. Most of the money came from me and my parents because Tiffany always had money problems. Around 9 p.m., I managed to get away for a few minutes. I went into a small coat room next to the main hall and just sat there in the dark, trying to breathe. Then it all hit me at once. The shame, the betrayal, the complete disbelief that this was really happening to me. I put my face in my hands and let myself cry for exactly 5 minutes. I even checked my watch. 5 minutes of being weak, and then I went back out to face everyone. Jake found me as I was coming out. "Are you okay?" "Yes," I lied. He put his hand on my shoulder. "Look, whatever you are feeling right now is okay, but I need you to understand something. What she did is about her, not about you. Some people cannot see something good when it is right in front of them."
I nodded because I did not trust myself to speak. "Also," he added, "your Aunt Patricia is doing a dance called The Worm on the dance floor, and you really need to see it to believe it." That made me laugh for real, and for some reason, that was when the night changed for the better. We stayed until the place closed. The last 20 or so guests and I sat around a big table, telling stories, laughing about old times, and making plans to meet up in the future. It was not the night I had planned, but it was not as terrible as it could have been. Tiffany, I did not hear from her that night, or the next day, or the day after that. Complete silence. I went back to my apartment. It was technically our apartment, but she had moved most of her things to a room at her parents' house the week before the wedding. The apartment felt empty. I could not sleep in our bed, so I slept on the couch for 2 nights. My mom came over on the 3rd day. She took one look at me and the dirty dishes in the sink and started taking care of everything. She opened all the windows, washed my clothes, ordered food, and sat with me while we watched simple action movies. She did not try to make me talk about what happened or say nice things that would not help. She just kept me company. You know what the worst part is? I finally said after the 3rd movie. I still don't understand why. 4 years and she could not even tell me to my face? My mom just squeezed my hand. Some people are not brave enough to face what happens because of their choices. That is not your fault. Then on the 4th day, my phone started going crazy. Missed calls, voicemails, many texts. "Mark, I made a terrible mistake. We need to talk. Please call me back. I love you." I did not answer, but I wanted to know what was happening. So I called Danielle, a friend we both knew who had not talked to me since the wedding chaos. She answered right away, and her voice sounded strained. "Look," she said, I did not know how to tell you, but you should know everything." We met for coffee that evening. I prepared myself, and she showed me proof. Actual screenshots, messages, and call records. Apparently, some friends we both knew found out the truth right after the wedding, and they were angry, not just at Tiffany, but at themselves for not realizing it sooner. It turned out that Tiffany did not just get nervous about getting married, she had a whole plan with a man named Marcus, who was older, flashy, and always posted online about his business success and free lifestyle. Tiffany met him at a social media class and believed everything he said. The plan was for her to marry me, get legal access to my money, then divorce me after 6 months and use the money I would have to pay her to become famous online. That's why she kept wanting an expensive wedding, the honeymoon, and shared bank accounts. Marcus was telling her how to make her brand better and get a lot of money. He thought I was rich because of the wedding money, my job, and the ring. He thought I came from a wealthy family and that Tiffany would get a lot of money in a divorce that they could use to build their online business. But when she left before the wedding, the whole plan failed. I found her roommate, someone I barely knew, but who had secretly contacted Jake. We talked on the phone, she confirmed what Danielle said, and told me something else. Marcus stopped talking to Tiffany the moment he found out we never signed the marriage papers. No marriage meant no access to my money, no alimony payments, no financial advantage. He literally had her moved out of the nice place they were staying and blocked her on his social media. She had to leave the expensive rental place they had booked. When her credit card did not work, she had to call her dad to come get her. She was standing in the lobby of a fancy hotel with her suitcases, like someone who lost on a TV dating show. The worst part was that Marcus had a real girlfriend in another city. Tiffany was just something fun on the side, a temporary project with no future. She did not know this until the girlfriend found out and sent her pictures of them together. So yes, her whole big plan failed completely before it even started. And the only thing she got from it was a trip back to her parents' guest room. If you want to talk about karma, that's it. She got what she deserved, and there was no getting her money back. So now, Tiffany is desperate and keeps calling me. I answered one of her calls about a week after the wedding. I was just curious, in a dark way. "Mark, oh thank God," she said. She was already crying, having a complete breakdown. I said nothing. I just waited. "I messed up so badly," she cried. "It was the stress, the pressure. Marcus meant nothing to me. We can still fix this. Just tell people I had a panic attack. We can have the wedding later." The nerve of her. This woman had completely betrayed me, and now wanted to make it look like something else. I kept my voice calm and steady, like a doctor, with no emotion in it. "You texted me that you were breaking up with me. You had your plan to leave with another man ready. There is nothing to fix, Stephanie. It's over." She started crying hysterically. "No, Mark, don't say that. It was a mistake. I love you." "Sure," I said, "until your new rich man left you and your dream fell apart. Now suddenly I'm the perfect guy again." She cried, "You don't understand. He lied to me. He promised me all these things and just left me in some terrible motel. I had to call my dad to come get me." I actually laughed, a low, tired laugh. "That's supposed to make me feel sorry for you? You picked the wrong liar, and now I'm supposed to take you back like nothing happened?" "I was confused. I made a mistake. Please," she said. Then came the desperate part. "But where will I go? What will I do?" I paused, was silent for a moment, then said it clearly. "Frankly, my dear, I don't care at all." I blocked her number. The next morning, I got an email from her mom with the subject line, "We owe us." I should have deleted it, but I wanted to see what nonsense she wrote. They were demanding their money back for their flights, hotels, spa visits, dress changes, emotional pain, and everything else. They said I should pay them back for letting the wedding happen when I knew Tiffany was not ready to get married. Right, because apparently I can read minds. And the best part, we expect full payment within 14 days or we will have to take more action. I read it twice, then checked my calendar to see if it was April Fool's Day. It was not. My lawyer replied with just one sentence. "No legal basis. Please stop contacting Mark." Then her dad, who had been quiet the whole time I was with Tiffany, suddenly became brave and called me at midnight, half drunk and angry. "You humiliated my daughter. You made her run away from you and your boring life. You ruined our family's name. You owe us. You will hear from my lawyer." I told him, "I can't wait, but I'm still waiting." Over the next week, I got many angry texts from phone numbers I did not know. Tiffany's sister, Amber, tried to send a message to Jake saying she would tell the truth online if I did not do the right thing. Jake took a picture of the message and posted a video of himself doing a backflip off a wave with the words, "Is this you, hero?" But what shocked me was that none of them ever admitted what Tiffany actually did. Not one time. In their made-up world, I was the bad guy for telling the truth, for not paying for her escape, for not just letting her daughter ruin my life without saying anything. Her mom even had the nerve to say it was my fault that Tiffany left. "If you had just been more generous," she wrote in one of her crazy emails, "maybe Tiffany would not have felt she needed to look for someone else. She was under a lot of pressure to live up to your standards, right? Because not buying her a Tesla car and giving her everything she wanted for her online life is obviously why she cheated, lied, and left right before the wedding. I did not know that being careful with money and not buying expensive cars like they were candy was emotional abuse. I think they should have won a gold medal for the mental tricks they were doing." A few days later, as she promised, rumors started spreading, clearly started by Tiffany and Amber. I started hearing that I was the bad guy. Apparently, I was too controlling, put too much pressure on her, and my favorite, that I secretly called off the wedding myself, but blamed her. The text message? Oh, that was misunderstood or sent when I was forcing her. Some people actually believed this nonsense, mostly her relatives and friends who did not know us well. A girl I barely knew from Tiffany's wider circle of friends actually sent me a message saying, "I always knew there was something wrong with you. No wonder she could not marry you." I did not bother to answer. What was the point? Tiffany started posting mysterious messages on Instagram about escaping bad situations and finding her value, using tags like #survivor and #mytruthmatters, as if she was the one who was hurt. I did not fight the rumors in public. I just calmly told anyone who asked me directly what happened. She texted me, "I can't marry you 5 minutes before the wedding to leave with another man. That plan failed. These are the facts." I showed the text to a few people who needed proof. Most people saw through her attempts to change what really happened. Meanwhile, Tiffany's family kept making demands, sending texts, emails, and even a letter to my apartment. They wanted me to pay for everything, the wedding planning, the emotional work, her things, which I had already sent back, and half the value of the wedding gifts that were returned or given away. Amber even suggested I should pay for therapy for Tiffany's trauma from the whole experience, the experience that she caused. The way they felt entitled to things was unbelievable. I talked to a lawyer just to be safe. He laughed at their demands, said they had no legal right to anything, and sent one formal email back. "Mark considers this matter closed. Tiffany ended the relationship and wedding plans. No money or compensation is owed. Any more demands will be treated as harassment." I blocked all the new phone numbers and email addresses.
Then there was the $18,000 honeymoon trip to the Maldives that could not be refunded. Tiffany had been crazy about this trip. She picked the specific room over the water. She talked about it all the time for months before the wedding. She showed everyone the pictures. "Look at that water, the private deck, the dolphins you can see from your room." The travel agent told me I could not get my money back, but I could change the name of the second person on the reservation. Letting $18,000 just disappear felt like letting her win in some way. Also, I had already taken 2 weeks off from work, time that I had earned and deserved. So I called Jake. "Dude," I said, "what are you doing next week? How would you like to go surfing in the Maldives?" There was a pause on the phone. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely serious. The trip is already paid for. I can't get the money back. We might as well use it." "Oh my God, yes!" Jake is an experienced surfer who now teaches surfing at a local beach. The guy spends almost all his time in the ocean. If anyone would enjoy a tropical island trip, it was him. 2 weeks later, we were on a first-class flight to the Maldives. We brought our surfboards and made the whole trip into an amazing surfing adventure. We stayed in the same room over the water that Tiffany had picked. We rode some incredible waves, ate wonderful seafood, and just recovered. The people working at the resort must have known something was wrong. They were expecting a couple on their honeymoon, but got 2 guys with surfboards instead. But they were nice and professional. One of the waiters at the restaurant actually pulled me aside on the 3rd night. "Sir, if you don't mind me asking, this was supposed to be a honeymoon trip." "Yes," I nodded. He leaned closer. "My wife left me 2 days before our wedding for my cousin." He touched his chest. "It gets better. You're doing the right thing by coming here." That conversation, as random as it was, affected me more than almost anything else. This complete stranger on the other side of the world was telling me he understood what I was going through. There was something healing about that. We spent our days surfing early in the morning when the water was very smooth and the sun was just coming up. There is something about the ocean that helps you see things clearly. You are just a tiny person on a board, and the ocean does not care about your problems. It just exists. And you either ride the waves or you don't. To be honest, the trip was probably better than the real honeymoon would have been. No drama, no complaints about me checking my work email on my phone, no pressure to take perfect pictures for Instagram, just 2 guys enjoying paradise, surfing in the morning, napping in hammocks, and eating great food. There was a moment about 5 days into the trip. We were sitting on the deck of the bungalow, watching the sunset, holding cold sodas. Jake looked at me and said, "You know what's crazy? If she hadn't left you, you would be stuck in a marriage with someone who didn't really want you, and you would never know how close you came to avoiding that disaster." He was right. As painful as it was that she left, at least it happened before we signed the marriage papers, before having children, before buying a house together, before our lives were so mixed up that separating would be even more terrible. The day before we left, I posted just one photo on my private Instagram. It was just me and Jake, with our surfboards under our arms, smiling in front of the beautiful blue water. The caption said, "New tides, better rides." I didn't tag anyone or mention weddings or being rejected, but of course, a friend we both knew took a picture of the post and sent it right to Tiffany. I heard that she cried for hours when she saw it. Not tears of regret, but tears because she felt she deserved that trip. I'm not going to lie, hearing that made me feel satisfied. Not because I wanted her to suffer, but because it showed me something important. She was not sad about losing me, she was sad about losing the lifestyle she thought I would give her. And that made me even more sure that I had avoided something terrible.
Yes, it has been about 4 months now.
Things have calmed down. The demands for money stopped after my lawyer's email. The attempts to make me look bad also stopped. It turns out that when your story has many problems and the other person just tells the truth, people figure out what really happened pretty quickly. I heard that after Marcus left her and she realized I was not taking her back, she stayed with Amber for a while. Apparently, that was terrible. Tiffany expected Amber to support her emotionally and with money. She did not look for a job. She complained all the time. She treated Amber's place like a hotel. After about 2 months, Amber told her to leave. Even sisterly love has limits. According to friends we both know, living with Tiffany was a nightmare. She would sleep until noon, leave dirty dishes everywhere, spend hours on her phone looking at Instagram and crying about how her life was supposed to be different. She would order expensive food on Amber's credit card without asking, borrow clothes without giving them back, and get very angry whenever Amber suggested she look for a job or help with the house in some way. In the end, Tiffany moved back in with her parents, found a simple office job, but is always complaining on social media about having no money and how everything is unfair, how life is against her. She never admits that she caused her own problems. Her latest Instagram posts are full of vague quotes about starting over and how sometimes bad choices lead us to good places and other nonsense that probably makes her feel better, but is not fooling anyone who knows what really happened. She really likes to play the victim. She takes no responsibility, shows no regret, just feels bitter that her big plan failed. As for me, I'm doing well. Really well, actually. The first few weeks were hard, I won't lie. I felt foolish, heartbroken, and angry. But that party celebrating that I avoided a disaster, as strange as it was, set the tone for how I would handle things. My friends and family supported me. Going on that honeymoon trip with Jake was the best decision. It was a clear break, a way to find something good from the mess. Money-wise, yes, I lost a lot. That more than $60,000 for the wedding and honeymoon is gone forever. But it is just money. What I got back was my self-respect and freedom from someone who saw me only as a source of money and a way to get the Instagram life she thought she deserved. I did not lose anything that truly mattered. I lost someone who thought my hard work was just a way to pay for someone else's dreams. I lost a family who saw me as a machine that gives money, not as a person. I lost the weight of trying to build a future with someone who did not understand what it takes to build something real. Some of my friends have tried to set me up on dates, but I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe in a few more months. Right now, I am focused on rebuilding my life, on creating a life I can be proud of, no matter who shares it with me. To anyone reading this who is going through something similar, stay strong. The pain is real, but it does not last forever. And sometimes what feels like someone rejecting you is actually life protecting you from something bad.